Hi there, I am Laina Orlando, and it is November the 29th, 2021. We just finished in the US celebrating Thanksgiving holidays, a wonderful time for all of us to be present in gratitude for the wonderful things that are in our lives. It is also a time for those who are awake to be very clear that the freedoms that we are experiencing in this 3D world are quickly coming to an end. They don't have to, however, come to a total end within you. Awakening is cultivating a relationship with that which in us is already eternal, that which is always free, so free that we chose to incarnate on a planet that is going through a transition. And when you wake up, you begin to understand how you can be a part of supporting the shift in consciousness, the shift into the new earth, the shifting and the lifting of our frequency personally as within is necessary to cultivate as without a new earth. This episode, I am titling it A Line Through the Sand. We have got to get really clear. Humanity is in the middle of a battle, and it doesn't matter what you call it, but the battle is between good and evil, God and the human ego, love and fear, corruption and cooperation, lies and secrecy, transparency and truth. It doesn't matter what you want to label it. Clearly, things are not okay in this world. There's not a single person on this planet that if you were to ask, is this the kind of world you want to live in? Do you like what's happening? Very few would tell you that this is exactly what they want, and only those who are participating in the controlling of the masses, in the controlling of the world, would even tell you that this is something that they enjoy. Because we are freedom-seeking beings. The part within us that we have to cultivate a relationship with is eternal and it is free. Those are inherent characteristics in the design that our Creator created us with. We are made in the image of that which cannot be bound, cannot be contained. However, it can be blocked. We can deny and block and do all kinds of things to keep ourselves from listening to the voice of the Creator. And that is what gives us the experiences of disconnection and discomfort. So the line in the sand that we get to draw with consciousness, with conscious awareness, is very simple. I am utilizing my chart. This is the one that I title, let me lift this up so you can see. I title it The Power of Awareness, Becoming Aware of What Are You? Are you expanded in a state of consciousness of enlightenment? Are you operating from love, peace, joy? Are you reasoning with the mind of God, the mind that God has given you? Or are you operating in contraction? Are you operating in shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, anger, desiring something from outside of you because you haven't found it inside? That means you're operating from the ego mind. The line in the sand right now for all of us that we were not aware of is done right here. And this is where ego runs the show below the line and God runs the show above the line. We move into higher frequencies, we move into lower frequencies. And what I use to create this particular design to give you the visual of the contraction that happens when you listen to the ego, the expansion that happens when you listen to God, is from the book Power versus Force, written by Dr. David Hawkins. This book has an incredible scale right in here, and this is called a map of consciousness. It breaks it down. And what I've done is I'm using the colors of the chakras. I'm using everything that I possibly can to assist humanity in understanding in a simple way what awakening is about. If you don't understand what awakening is about, it's very difficult to become fully self-aware. When you become self-aware, you're aware of who you are. You're aware of the dimensions of frequency that exist inside of you. Are you operating at peace? You're in a high frequency. Do you descend into anger, judgment, fear, Do you get tight and tense and contract? Or do you expand and you feel wonderful? Well, to be self-aware is to be aware of what's happening inside of you. Most of us haven't been taught that. The process of waking up is oh my gosh, I am becoming aware that I have this meter. I have this gauge inside of me, goes up and down like a thermostat. It goes up and down. And our awareness of where we are operating from is what we have got to get clear about. Humanity, as you wake up, have the ability to ascend in consciousness. You begin to operate from a place of reasoning with the mind of God. I am a teacher and a student of A Course in Miracles, and I utilize A Course in Miracles now for all of my teachings, because there is no teaching on this planet that I have found that has helped me better understand, become self-aware of this gauge inside of me. Not only does it explain clearly how did the ego get developed, it helps us be able to really see that we have a choice between listening to the voice of the ego and the voice of God. When you become self-aware, you realize you've got these two voices. God is not out there somewhere, as we've been told, on a cloud. God is inside, is in here. It's our intuitive knowingness. But you can't hear God very clearly if you're listening to the voice of the ego. These little magnetic people represent when we are born, we're connected to God. We're all children that are born as pure love and light. We bring love and light to the planet. That's the lighter colors. Then we begin to shift and drift. We densify. Our mind begins to take on the heaviness of the ego's thought system, the negativity, the competition, the lack, the fear, the anger, the righteousness, the justifications, the attacking, the defending. We get darker and darker and darker until some of us will go down to the places of evil, the places where we literally, it's all about me. I don't care about you. I operate in me win and you lose. So we can move into any one of these realms based on how our mind gets conditioned, gets trained, what we learn. If you learn lies about who you are, you can't help but descend. If you're operating from the truth of who you are, you stay at a higher frequency. So Course in Miracles taught me what happens. How do we shift and drift? It also teaches the 6 stages that we have to go through to reach the levels of high consciousness. Total and complete trust in only one voice, the voice for God. I also, before I became a student of the Course in Miracles, received some people call it a download. I received guidance to create a workshop called The Soul's Journey. Actually, the workshop is called The Power of Awareness, and inside of that is an explanation called The Soul's Journey that takes people through the 6 stages we go through, from conception to enlightenment, from conception down into disconnection, and then back up into enlightenment. So I am offering as many things as I possibly can to help people wake up, to help people choose where they draw the line in the sand. You can go to my website and download or get access to the course free, The Soul's Journey. Or you can look at all of my YouTube videos. I specifically post lots of free content because I want people to have access to this information. It's our birthright. And then I do a free weekly workshop. We've been doing it pretty much most of this year, and I'm going to continue it for forever if that's what it takes. Every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, every episode is posted here. I call it Ascension with A Course in Miracles because we have to learn to ascend, to expand our consciousness. So the line in the sand, let's be really clear about that. We drew a line in the sand when we chose to listen to the voice of the ego. In humanity, as you go deeper into the ego, you go further into suffering. And that is not necessary, but there's nothing wrong with that. Each and every one of us is a powerful creator, creating the experience that we want to have. I began to wake up and realize I want to have an experience that lets life become way more fun and much easier. And it can be that way. So I drew a line in the sand for me that I wanted to rise and operate strictly from the 200 frequency. This is the calibration Dr. David Hawkins gives in his book to the kinesiology that allows us to measure frequency. I knew I was absolutely going to listen to the voice for God, but inside of listening to the voice for God, I drew another line in the sand for me. It was a line in the sand that says, I am going to accept the truth of who I am, which means I am going to operate only with the voice for God. I'm going to utilize God's reasoning. And that means I have become a very, I don't want to use the word serious because there's nothing serious. It's actually so fun and joyful, student of A Course in Miracles. To really understand what it's teaching, to really live by what it teaches, to walk the talk that the Course is teaching. And of course, there's several other books that have been channeled after that one that are like follow-ups. They take you deeper. And once I realized, okay, I can operate from strictly what is of God, that means I've got to operate at the level of love and love only. So I drew for me a line in the sand that says, I am operating only from love because I am not willing to operate from the frequency of the ego sphere anymore. For me, I'm not willing to go that far down. I cannot make myself that contracted and feel that level of pain and discomfort, because to be in fear, I have to give my power away. I've got to give it away to somebody, to the medical establishment, to the government, to the church, to the education system. When you begin to wake up and you connect with the voice of reason, what's happening is that we're remembering that the voice for God, the creator of all that is inside of us. Not out there on the cloud where the church told us it was, not in a president or a dictator or a tyrant or whatever outside of us, a governor or whatever outside of us. It's not out there, it's in here. So we are in the midst of a battle between those who want us to give our power to them, which means we have to live in fear of, if we don't, there's a consequence, or free ourselves so that we can live strictly from love. When we live from love as beings like Martin Luther King Jr., like Gandhi taught us, Jesus taught us, when you live from love, you face what is happening that is unloving and you call it back into itself. For me, it's really clear. I am not looking at what is happening out there as anything other than a call for love. Those people who are, and they're my holy brothers and sisters, who are attempting to control humanity, who are attempting to take the freedoms away from humanity, who are shaming, who are in a place of shaming and guilting people who don't do what they say they should do, are attempting to control people through fear. Have you noticed people that you love becoming so fearful and shaming you or shaming their friends for not doing what everybody else is telling them they should do? There's an incredible amount of disconnect from the voice of God inside, because when you listen to the voice for God, even if you choose to follow what others are telling you to do, you never guilt another person into having to do that. You realize that it feels good for you. You do it because it makes you feel more expanded. Yes, when you do something here, you are more expanded than when you do it from shame and guilt. You got to be pretty afraid, pretty contracted. The line in the sand for me to not go below love, the frequency of love, means that I recognize that this world is being run by a lot of people who have given their power to their ego. The world of the ego, the world of those who are very contracted, the 1% of the 1% who is attempting to run the world and take power from others. They do not realize, they're not awake, they're not aware Number one, that love already won. God wins no matter what. We can destroy this world and we can destroy humanity, but God wants humanity to appear on another planet. He'll put us on another planet. So this is not something that those who are attempting to be the new world order, whatever it is that they're calling themselves, they're calling for love. They don't remember the truth of who they are. And what has happened to me, the more I listen to God, the more I listen to the voice of reason, the more I understand what enlightened is all about, is that to be enlightened is to be in the light and then to shine the light upon all that has been dark for a very long time. We are to shine our light. We are to say, hey, there is another way, because the way of love, the way of operating at that frequency means that we are drawing together those who want to co-create a world where medicine is designed from the inside out. There is a knowingness that we want to build our natural immunity. The body is used as a vessel that carries the soul, so there is a purification process. Foods have to change. Organic has to become the norm. Things out of boxes are going to have to go away. You can't be eating food that are processed if you want to raise the frequency of your body vessel. There is an understanding that we have to come together for learning how to be healthy. That becomes the priority, not treating sick people, but ensuring that we don't even get that to that level. There's a new way of education that says there is intelligence inside of us. Let's draw that out from a child. Like teachers like I can't remember her first name, but last name Montessori did. There are plenty of teachers that draw the intelligence out of the being. They don't shove information into their minds to block their ability to reason. There are groups that are coming together for governing, designed as our founding fathers wanted us to experience life, liberty, and happiness, because we are all equal in the eyes of God. So there are new systems that are coming together by people who are coming together, drawing to each other those who operate in the frequency of reason, of love, of peace, not looking to conquer one another, not looking to control, but rather in freedom call forth that which is not only intelligent within us, but that wants to collaborate, co-create, and in essence, create a whole new world. So the world is going to be bifurcating. We are seeing it already. We're seeing the red states, the blue states, the governors who are for freedom from mandates, and governors who are all about lockdowns and mandates and passports and controlling. So the world is dividing. But are you choosing to move with that division based on resonance, on frequency? Are you being drawn to the freedom-seeking states, or are you being drawn to the states that are about control and are about forcing others through shame and through guilt to feel bad about the choices that they're making? The line in the sand, there's no turning back to go back and change where you put the line in the sand. That's not going to be possible. There is only the drawing the line of the sand, and whether you believe it or not, prepare for the next incarnation to be repeating at the level of frequency that you happen to leave this incarnation at. So when we have the death experience, are you leaving with guilt, internal guilt, shame? Are you guilting others? Are you operating in apathy? Oh, you're too love and light and you can't get your hands dirty with politics. Are you operating in grief? Oh my gosh, I didn't do enough. I am so afraid that I am not standing up. Are you operating in fear, not taking a stand because you're afraid you might lose what little you think the government might give you to protect you? You're attached to your money, your stuff, your false idols. What level are you going to be experiencing your transition from? I am really clear that I am incarnating at love or above, which means I have to ground myself at that frequency and do that which is loving first for myself. Love yourself, and then love your neighbor. And I'm loving myself enough to not lower my frequency, to not be judgmental, to not go around and judging and think that I know better from anybody else, because I don't. Doesn't mean that judgmental thoughts don't arise in my mind. They absolutely do. But I don't act on them hardly ever. And when I do, I am very quick to acknowledge what has just happened, because I love myself too much to let my internal essence get contracted and so that I'm operating from a place of discomfort. I can't do that. So loving myself means I have to vibrate at that frequency. I have to be compassionate and kind. I've got to be in neutrality, which requires courage. I've got to have the courage to become neutral, not judging. Have the willingness to listen to only for the voice of God. Accept those who want to operate in the frequency of the voice for the ego. It's okay. We're all powerful creators, creating whatever reality we are wanting to experience. If you want to experience freedom, you cannot, in honesty, be supporting that which promotes control. So when you understand that you've got two opposing frequencies happening, you've got to make a choice. Which side of the fence am I going to stand on? Am I going to continue to listen to the voice for ego and try to control people? Or am I going to listen to only the voice for God? And for a while, we're going to be, the different colors. We're going to be swinging back and forth. But the choice has to be made to be willing to accept that you create your own reality, and then connect with the voice of reason, which says, instead of seeing the 3D world that is out there and battle against it, I'm not battling against anything out there, not anymore, because it has no power over me. I'm not afraid of presidents. I'm not afraid of heads of this government agency or that agency. I listen to only to the voice for God. I am under no laws but the laws of God, which means I've achieved a level inside of myself that because I'm not in fear, I can operate loving those who clearly are doing things that are not loving to others, because I respect them as my holy brothers and sisters, having the experience that they want to have. But my work is to be an example of what's possible when one chooses to awaken, become self-aware, and then ascend to a higher level of consciousness. I invite you to go to my website and download or participate, sign up to get the free e-course called The Soul's Journey. I also take people through the 365 lessons from A Course in Miracles, which help me understand how to move to those levels of reason, because I live in this world, but I know I'm not of it. The teachings that Jesus gives us through A Course in Miracles are the teachings that I live by day to day. It's how I live my life. I still slip from time to time, but I'm really quick to forgive myself, because again, I'm not going to go down and shame myself, because that doesn't feel good. I stay in a loving place and forgive myself, because that feels really, really good. And not only that, it's my birthright to feel good, because God created me in its image, and God is goodness. I leave you with this one last comment. You create your own reality. Think about your next incarnation. What frequency do you want to incarnate at? And master being at that frequency now. So if you want to incarnate here, but you're operating in apathy and fear, in shame, and you have some work to do. The 365 lessons will help you. I break it down exactly how to move through looking at your beliefs, looking at your projections, cleaning up what's going on inside, and move yourself through the different calibrations until you shift and lift into the high frequencies of love. If you make a decision that you want to operate from love or above, the whole universe is going to collaborate to assist you, because the entire universe is supporting the ascension, the bifurcation of those who are settling and are comfortable living inside of the old earth. That's what's happening here. This is an old earth. We call it 3D. Or we are finding we're connecting. Vibrationally, we are coming together, and we are shifting and lifting to create a new earth. with new systems, and this is known as the 5D Earth. 4D is the journey from one to the other. So thank you for watching this video. If you find this useful, please share it with others. Join me in sharing the information that sets us free, because only the truth can set us free. Now, it does piss us off when we find out that our entire life we've been listening to the voice for ego. We've been operating in fear, which is how we've been controlled. It does piss you off for a little while, and then you get excited because you realize, oh, well, if I create my own reality and I can choose to listen to a different voice, then I'm going to choose to listen to the voice that makes me feel good. And that is to listen to the voice for God, Source, Spirit, Buddha, Allah, Bambi, whatever you call it. It does not matter. It is an impersonal presence, an intelligence, an essence. And it wants us to experience life, eternal life, liberty, total freedom, and happiness. But that's only possible when you operate at love or above. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you in the next one of these videos. Bye-bye.